All right. Good morning from over in Phoenix, Arizona. It is currently 6:08 a.m. my time, and for the boys in Eden Adversary over in, if I go onto public domain, I just saw this. It's not Jakarta. It's like Sayakarta, something like that, right?
Yeah, Surakarta. It's on Central Java.
There you go.
Central.
Sweet. So for the boys over there, what is the time for you right now? Is it like
Uh,
12 or
it is 20 p.m.
20 p.m.?
Uh
Okay.
8 p.m. 8 p.m.
Oh, yes, 8 p.m. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So 14 hours ahead of us.
Yes.
Just like that of Agung from Makluk and that of the boys in Mies Mata from previous sessions. We're hopping over to that side of the world again. But not only that, this has been a podcast session in the making for quite some time. This has been an opportunity both me and the members of Eden Adversary have been looking forward to, as there were just many delays in the process of getting what is going to be Kingdom of Heresy out to the public, right? There was just a lot of complications. There was a lot of obstacles, but they have now conquered those obstacles. And not only that, but they have pulled in a great many neighboring artists from their side of the world into this album. Today on the Anatomy podcast, basically a month in the making, today we are going to be looking to start the session by doing a very, very early access front to back session. Now, for both the band in session and the people listening to this, this will not be releasing until that of the public domain release of Kingdom of Heresy. That way, day one, when the album comes out, you guys also have day one insight, day one access into a more deeper and intimate experience for the music you're listening to, for the people that you are participating in as far as their creative medium. I think that's pretty simple, though, as well. Chances are this is going to be episode 82 or 84 by the time it comes out. Really excited, and hopefully we can get to a higher number, such a higher number than what we are at right now, in which we only just got out episode 78 with the true Austrian death machine, that being Pray for Pain. And then we have a session for Chains of Agony, Ruins of Perception, a death metal band from Sweden called Gluttony, and then Russian Slam, Up and Comers, Agiomatic Dematerialization. That's already 4 sessions, people. And not only are we doing this session today with Eden Adversary, but, well, not that you guys will know until the episode comes out, but we are also doing another podcast session this afternoon, 6 p.m. my time, with another band, U.S. local, called Morning Veil. Really looking forward to that. But, gentlemen, how are we doing this morning? You guys look great. The makeup looks great. The masks look incredible, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. It is night in here, so good night.
Right. Good evening, right. No, it's really cool because, I mean, even compared to one of the first ever sessions we did with Agung from Makluk, I remember the only thing that he ended up doing was like, well, the whole point of the episode was him without the mask. Nobody had seen him without the mask, right? And now, well, we get to see the gentlemen in their true form, in their best form, wearing the makeup, wearing the masks, which for Eden Adversary, it seems to be a collection of metallic silver Oni masks, which is so very, very cool. And it just provides a different flavor to what we over here in the West know as Black and Deathcore, or individuals like me and Derek Connolly of Nithville call it Ignite the Church, right? That's kind of the musical movement, kind of bringing back that almost toxic mayhem slash burzum level culture back into Black and Deathcore without actually, killing gay people per se. Maybe burning down a couple churches, hopefully without the people inside it, stuff like that. Eden Adversary is making a mark in their part of the world by bringing the Lorna Shore, by bringing the Awakened Providence, Worm Shepherd, Shrine of Malice experience to their local area. And that is absolutely also why we had to get these guys on the show. I remember checking out their song Lords of Gehenna simply because Agung from Makhluk featured on that song. But there was so much more to it, whether it be that it reminded me of a combination between Infant Annihilator and Shrine, the masks, or the production. Really, really good stuff. And well, full circle, basically upwards of 2 years later, we now have them on the show. So I hope you gentlemen are as equally excited as I am to be hosting you guys, telling your story today as artists, and hopefully going into the near future, maybe before that of the release of this initial episode, we can also get some sessions recorded with the other members. But if not, no pressure, because that is not really something we discussed before. More or less a spur of the moment statement, and hopefully manifesting what will be extensions upon this first session. Who knows? But most importantly, I am sitting down with these gentlemen. If you could, for the sake of the session and for the sake of public domain, not exactly providing me your names when I type in Eden Adversary members in the first place, if you could just name yourselves off that way, well, I know what to call you both.
Yeah. So who first? Me? Uh yes. Hello, my name is Irfan Molana, or you can call me Khourne as my stage name. I play guitars or bass for Eden Adversary.
Sweet, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Kristian, and I'm singing for Adversaries.
Thank you. So we have Khourne, as in like the new metal band Khourne, and then we have Kristian, as in like the religion.
Yes, as in the Warhammer 40K.
There you go. There you go. Okay, well, gentlemen, Khourne, Kristian, nice to meet you. Nice to finally have you on the show again. And thank you for introducing yourself. I would easily recommend that as soon as possible, just so the public also has access and can name you guys member by member, to go ahead and correct that, whether on your Facebook, on your Instagram, or any of your social medias. That way, well, people can identify you and start associating, even if all the silver Oni masks are kind of similar, right? Let's go ahead and, put names behind those masks and stuff. But the album listening session of this podcast, again, thank you to both Khourne and Kristian for allowing us to listen to such a monumental demonstration of Indonesian heavy counterculture music, like all just compacted into a 10-track album. Beautiful album cover. All the featurettes did really well. Now we dive into the actual podcast itself. Now, we have no idea what episode this is, or episode number then this episode is going to be. We have no idea, because most of the time recently, I've had upwards of 5 different podcast sessions waiting to have intros recorded or whatever, just in storage. Like, there are just at least 5 episodes in my storage on average recently. So that, and just constantly reaching out to bands, constantly looking to spread our name into different parts of the globe, well, that comes with complications. That comes with time zone differences. But this session has been in the planning for a very, very long time. It is just good to be here. It is good to be here. And now I kind of take the role of David Attenborough, me and Finn both, right? So as per what we usually do on this show, what I'll go ahead and do is pull up the questionnaire, as I do believe I sent this over to you, gentlemen, correct?
Yes, of course.
Good. Okay, so we get started with part 1, which really we're just talking about the people behind the music. Today we have 2 out of 6 members, or 2 out of 5 members?
2 out of 5.
Okay, 5. So we have 2 members out of 5 throughout the entirety of the band joining us today. And hopefully we can get the rest of the band on the podcast before the release of the album, but if not, that's completely fine. We can always do it later in time. This is, after all, the first date, and I think they're coming pretty strong with the masks and the makeup. I know I didn't get my makeup on, so kudos to them for taking that extra effort.
Fine. It looks good.
Thank you. So with that in mind, question one, whoever wants to go first, whether it be Khourne or Kristian, go ahead and take 10 to 20 minutes to provide the audience and listeners a roadmap from start to finish, ending with you joining Eden Adversary. And really, 10 to 20 minutes is just the minimum. That's just to kind of take up time.
Yeah.
You can take as much time as you need to explain your story as a musician from what you think is the true beginning up until joining Eden Adversary, and then we can go from there more specifically.
Okay. On this section, I can really just started with me and him. So Eden Adversary is once started as a two-man deathcore project. Two-man, it is me by me and Kristian. But when on the progress of our first single, we start to thinking, and we also want to play live as a band. So we start looking for people to join on our band. Then we found our drummer, our first bassist, our guitarist, and our first keyboardist. If you ever known us from the long time, we once had we once had a keyboardist.
That's actually pretty cool. That must have been the sixth member then.
Yeah.
I see.
And from there we start making music, upload it on digital platforms on 2019 for the first track, I guess, and then COVID happens.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much mess up our agendas. So
Right.
from there we start focusing our own family and putting Eden Adversary as our side project or something. So we put our time more to make music beside our daily life. We start making more music, making music videos and so on and so on. So that was the start, I guess. It was started by the two of us. It started by me. I'm asked him to join. If you want to make a deathcore band like that,
Yeah.
I have the concept. He asked to wear a mask and something like that, and that's much it, I guess.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry if my English is not
good.
it's not good.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Like, me and Finn can both confirm for you that English is such a clusterfuck of a language. That's why we try to encourage more bands from different countries around the world to jump on. And if it comes down to it, if you are more comfortable with it, you are absolutely allowed to utilize your local language. As long as you have a mobile device and have Google Translate, that way you can kind of translate the sentences better, because we've done that before with Russian slam band Agiomatic Dematerialization. And in fact, what I did as well on my end to be respectful, and I thought it was actually really fun because it reminded me of different personalities and faces, like maybe Joe Biden and Putin, for example, them talking back and forth between earpieces. It kind of gave me the same vibe. It's easier sometimes to communicate in your respective language as opposed to possibly miscommunicating something because you're not as versed in one of the world's most complicated languages. So no worries. If you want to do the Google Translate thing, that's completely fine. Otherwise, we will take as much time as we need to go ahead and make sure that you're not forcing your answers, right? Or you're not stumbling over your answers per se. And I can always edit any of this out if you need me to. So
it's fine. It's fine. As long as you get what we talk about, it's fine.
Absolutely. So more or less what you've provided to me so far, Khourne, is I would say the way a quick overview of how Eden Adversary got started and how well we happen to be hosting the two founding members of the band that started the project a little bit before the pandemic, right? Like you guys have been around for quite a bit now. Being that we're in 2024, we're halfway through the 2020s, for goodness sake. No, even with that in mind, you guys predate the pandemic, you predate the 2020s by quite a bit. So then one ends up being curious about your personal story. And that's especially with the masks and stuff, right? For the most part, you guys have the ability to be anonymous, right? You have the ability to have privacy. So, oh my gosh, there are the raccoons. I saw that. So
Thank you, Finn, for caring for the nature. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
right. So if anything, what I would want to do is take a little bit more time, right? And this is really where the 10 to 20 minutes comes in. Let's go ahead and learn about you as people. Oh, they're so cute. So go ahead and tell us, like obviously we know you as Khourne and Kristian. So why don't we go ahead and understand what made Khourne into the guitarist and bassist and founding member of Eden Adversary? How did all that happen? What was the beginning of you getting into music, Khourne?
As for me, it was started on elementary school as I play my first game on PC. I realized that I like the soundtrack that plays in the game. It is a RTS game, as I remember. It is Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. If you known about it, and Age of Empires, I like that stuff, that kind of stuff, RTS games, real-time strategy games. And the second one is because of my father. He like and shared some rock music like Judas Priest, System of a Down, Linkin Park, Evanescence. Yeah, like old school rock, mainstream songs like that. And even he accidentally brought me to an underground music concert. And that's when I seen the energy and the emotion of underground metal music. And I got hooked into exploring more of the music scene like that. So that was pretty much it. That was the reason I started to get hooked into music like that. That
Right.
was the reason.
Kristian, how about you?
Oh, I see that.
Huh?
Yo, kurang lebih bodoh.
I'm sorry, Kristian is not fluent in English, so as he trying to say is he pretty much like me. He started from a game, I think.
Yeah,
He started from a game. He like
Linkin Park,
yeah,
Avenged Sevenfold.
yeah. He like really,
Yeah, it's Linkin Park, Avenged Sevenfold.
yeah. He like
Oh,
Really?
Avenged Sevenfold.
yeah, and Avenged Sevenfold and something like that. And from there, he try explore more and
Start from yeah, berarti ini terus squad core.
huh?
Squad core.
Oh, he is actually started from the hardcore scene.
Okay, cool. That's actually really cool. So it seems that you both definitely share some aspects in that you both were introduced to music, of
Yeah.
course, here and there through bands from over here in the United States, from the West. But it really kick-started with your local scene, which is important. And that kind of goes full circle, I think, with Kingdom of Heresy, right? Because Kingdom of Heresy is you guys' way of showing the world what Indonesia is capable of from a sense of heavier counterculture subgenres. That was like basically the epitome of the front to back session for the album. So, Khourne, if you could kind of take me back to your perspective, your father ended up accidentally bringing you to a metal concert, not a metal concert,
Yeah, a metal concert.
and a local one at that. So, do you remember the band that you went to go see by chance?
I'm sorry. The first stage I got hooked into, I never know what the names are, what 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 the genre are. They're they're like death metal. I think of it.
Okay.
Maybe death metal bands or metal old school metalcore bands like that.
Okay. Yeah.
They're yeah, pretty much. I don't even remember what, but I know it was the energy of it. There was
Yes.
the mosh pit, and the sound of it. That is exciting me. So
Right. Naturally. So, what age would you say you were when your father accidentally brought you to that local metal show or whatever the genre might have been? How old were you?
uh maybe 10, I guess.
10.
Maybe 10 or 7 or 8. I was in
Wow.
elementary school.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you got started really early. So I mean, that's completely fair. It's understandable that you don't exactly remember the name of the band that you went to go see, let alone the fact that, your father didn't even mean to take you to that show. He's just like, "Oh yeah, this is the metal
Yeah.
show." And you're like, "Whoa." um
People like hitting each other. I don't know about that. I really scared at the first time.
Fair enough. Well, Kristian, you were mentioning the hardcore scene and how you ended up getting into that. Can you pinpoint the age that you were getting into the local hardcore scene?
Umur pira kowe mlebu hardcore?
Oh, yeah. 17 maybe.
17. Okay, so you started a little bit later for sure. Are
Yeah.
you guys like pretty far apart in age, or are you about the same age?
Uh
Very
three to 3 years maybe.
Okay, 3 years. So I mean that's not that much of a gap. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, then Kristian kind of ended up starting a little bit later in the scene, whether unintentionally or intentionally. But yeah, nonetheless, it's pretty cool. So, if anything, Kristian, I would think that in that situation, because you were 17 when you started getting into the hardcore scene, maybe you're able to recollect and remember some of the artists, some of the first artists that you went to see, or maybe even some of the first local artists that you ended up getting into. Can you recall any of those bands' names?
Band-bandnya sering apa ya?
It's like Gerbang Singa, Serigala Malam,
Yeah,
Is it?
that is the one featured with us.
Komeng. Is it?
Oh, okay. So,
The one-
let's see. The Coming. That's one of the first. That's one of the first bands you ever got into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, not many people can say that with their first full length effort as a band, their vocalist was able to acquire, right, and feature one of the vocalists that got him into music in the first place on his first record. That's really cool. I really hope you're proud of that. So you got into that at the age of 17, Coming and all those other projects. Kristian, what was was it Coming that kind of got you into wanting to be a vocalist yourself?
Sopo sing biyen ngajak kowe ning hardcore iki? Sing
Oh,
pertama kowe mlebu hardcore mergo apa?
yo. So konco sekolah.
It
Is
is
classmate.
they once a classmate on school.
That's
Classmate at
cool.
school.
Okay, cool. That's even cooler. So, what ended up getting you into wanting to become a vocalist, if I may ask? Like, was there a specific vocalist or maybe a specific album?
Biyen sing marai kowe pengen dadi vokalis apa?
Yo intinya pertamanya itu apa ya? Yo explore sih. Kalau ngene saya ngakak sama.
In in the past he liked to explore more, and not many people that enjoy wanted to be a vocalist of a hardcore band at the time.
Right. Fair enough. Okay. So let's see. Being that you were kind of isolated then in that situation, there were not many people who shared that same passion as you. Did you have any major vocalists from over here in the West that inspired you to become a vocalist?
Inspirasimu kok sapa vokalis wong Jawa ngono kae?
Iya, Bender.
Bender. Okay.
Okay.
Bender from Shadow of Intent.
Shadow of Intent.
Yes.
And sapa neh?
Oh.
Nek zaman biyen, zamanmu pas hardcore kae.
Oh. Kali ya sih.
You forgot.
Nah,
I
no worries.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and swing back to you, Khourne. So,
Yeah.
what ended up first getting you into guitar?
In the middle school, I got into rock and emo phase. So that the first time I got into like some learning guitar and shit like that.
Okay. So you got into guitar in middle school then?
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of people end up starting when they're wanting to really get into music. Did you start out with acoustic or did you start out with bass? Okay, acoustic.
I once start with an acoustic guitar.
Right. Everyone start with an acoustic.
I was once not having the chance to get an electric one. So yeah, for many years I learned by acoustic. As an in middle school, as in high school, I still with acoustics, and in high school, I got into exploring more of the metal and core musics, knowing the first early deathcore bands like Suicide Silence, Chelsea Green, Whitechapel, As Blood Runs Black, and and then I got into college and shifted into more kawaii bands. I like Japanese animes like that.
Yeah, hell yeah. We do on the I mean, I know for one thing for damn sure is that I have a very, very like focused fascination with J metal, J pop, J rock.
Yeah.
Because the way that some bands acquire opportunities by having their songs hosted as intros or outros to anime, well, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of like being in the halftime show for the Super Bowl here in the United States, especially depending on what show your song becomes the intro for. Like if, for example, Eden Adversary ended up writing a song, an intro song, even in their respective language, like, you know, just ignore the Japanese part.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. It could be for maybe Vinland Saga or a Tokyo Ghoul reboot, maybe even a new Castlevania season. You name any of those shows, and you're bound to make some pretty good money off of whatever song they want to have as the show's introduction, because that means people on streaming services, people on Netflix, people on 9anime.tv, even if they're pirating the show, they're like, oh, this song is actually really, really good. Who's it by? Oh, this band from Indonesia who all wear silver Oni masks called Eden Adversary. This is fucking sick. And then your monthly listeners kind of skyrocket, right?
Yeah.
That's what's so fascinating about it, is that you can get your halftime Super Bowl moment just by cutting your song in half and having that being a cartoon. Like that's insane, but it's also really, really cool because bands like Within Destruction, Brand of
Yeah.
Sacrifice,
Alpha
Distant,
Wolf.
you know, for starters, they're all doing that. Crystal Lake,
Yeah.
I have a
They're
feeling.
doing- Yeah.
That's how I got turned on to Fear and Loathing was from the intro for Parasite.
Yep, such
Yeah.
a we love our auto-tune MySpace deathcore.
I'm old enough to remember it.
I have it on my playlist because I watched it for the first time a couple years ago. So every time it comes on, my family's like, why is it fucking auto-tune, let alone Japanese and screamo and metal? But like, why is it just like auto-tuned? I'm like, because it's fucking music. This is music.
That is the fun part. That is the fun part of it.
It is. It really is. And I'm sure they made like, dude, Sim
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
rumbling.
Yeah.
This is like, dude, so much money just off of that one song. And then they basically went on a tour and they played that song. I'm sure I missed them when they came through town, but it really makes you think. Like the rumbling happened to be one of the final intro songs for Attack on Titan, and then they were able to successfully host I think a two-part US tour with Crystal Lake, with Within Destruction, Fame on Fire, and they made so much money off of that one song because it happened to be on an album. Anyways, no, Japanese metal, Japanese pop, Japanese rock, we love that over on Sean Cross. And with me wanting to do something very similar one day after learning how to speak Japanese borderline fluently.
Hi. Arigatou gozaimashita.
What's up?
No, I just speak in Japanese. I know.
Oh, right.
I picked up that. I just didn't understand. That's one language I don't speak. So,
well, we definitely got to learn that language because it's fun. It's good shit.
Russian and German, I got you. I can speak German fluently, but like,
Dankeschön.
Yep. Yo, Finn will bring the German to the table, guaranteed. if we ever have to host like German bands who don't speak English, like that's exactly why I'm like beating with sweat. I'm like, Finn, you need to get back on now. Like, I can't do this. But no, it's awesome. I love that. So Khourne, you ended up getting more into like Japanese
Yeah.
metal music, really. And
not just metal.
understandably so.
Every Japanese pop culture in general, I like, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like fucking what's a good example? You can't really see it right now, but I sleep on the floor. I do a Japanese tatami mattress. Like I don't sleep on the mattress anymore.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable. It's so good for your back and bones too.
Yeah.
So you ended up getting more into like Suicide Silence, MySpace era deathcore, which is really where Finn comes in as far as asking anything with that. Like if there are any, small niche MySpace era deathcore bands that you ended up getting into that maybe no one's ever heard of, but who knows? After you had your deathcore, your starter pack deathcore journey, what would you say after all this time and now leading up to what will be the release of your full-length album, what are some genres of music that you've been listening to recently that like you never thought you'd listen to before? If there are any.
For me, I like the other stuff. I like the scoring for movies. I like the soundtrack for games and stuff. And aside from metal music, I maybe like some J-pop and a little bit of K-pop like that.
I'll have to definitely send you the Asahi Enomichi playlist then, because that is a fun little playlist. It's so good. It's like basically it is a chronological time lapse or a time capsule, and it goes from April of like 2014 or 2015, but I made it in April of 2021, it goes from that point, and it's basically the intros that I liked from every show that I've seen so far, including One Piece, which I'm still caught up on. I'm basically caught up on it. And it has like the intros in order too. So like basically when I watched that season of One Piece, that's where the intro is. And then you have all the one-offers, like the one season anime and shit.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for a long time now, but it's a fun playlist to listen to because there are so many bops on there and so many like songs for shows that nobody's ever heard of before. And I'm like, yeah, I watched that show. I did the homework because I'm also trying to learn Japanese. But as we're, you know, continuing to learn about you and apparently going on a Japanese entertainment media rant tangent of sorts, one thing, if anything, I would love to ask Kristian the same thing. Essentially, if there's any music that you've been opening up to more recently that maybe you never thought you'd listen to while you were younger, because as you get older, you kind of have to open up your mind and expand your horizons as far as what you listen to. So is there any guilty pleasure music that you have on your Spotify, on your streaming services right now?
Lagu-lagu di luar metal. Tapi sing ora mbok sangka bakal mbok rungokne ngono lho.
Oh, that was ska.
He likes exploring
A Jamaican song.
a Jamaican sound, like
Ooh.
ska.
Ska, hell yeah, we love ska.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't listen to it that much myself, but I can definitely appreciate the genre. It's very, very important as a genre. So fuck yeah, cool. I love that you're getting into ska. My buddy Riley, his father and him have been slowly like getting into Streetlight Manifesto and all those kind of franchise ska punk bands in the recent years. But they're so much fun to listen to. So good for you, man. Good for
You're
you.
speaking of generation now. I think you forget that like I'm 2 days older than Dirt.
Well, I mean, yeah. Fucking might as well be Eldritch over here. He's my Eldritch co-host for the show. Let's see. Jumping back over to the questionnaire, because you know it's good that we have a scripted questionnaire as opposed to trying to improvise questions like we did near the beginning of the show. That was a nightmare, and I'm sure people can tell that when it was improv, it was a nightmare. So growing up, as this can be a question for either one of you, really. Growing up, as you got more into metal and rock, or possibly even other genres entirely, did you have other people in school or in your local community who helped you push forward as a musician?
So sing A iki lho. Sing A. Dadi aku sing start ya. Let me start with me first. So
Yes, of course.
The other people in school, maybe my classmates or in my local community, maybe I once started not as part of the scene. I just doing shit for fun. I just doing stages for fun, I guess. I don't really think about musicality also. I just having fun in those days. But the one that started help me push forward is maybe my father and some local store, local merchandise store that sells metal merchandise bands. He helped me to explore some kinds of music that maybe I don't even know about it, or even new genre, something like that. So that's where I started to in who helped me to pass this point. As for Kristian, maybe I can help him translate on something.
Ini sing gitu apa sih?
Pokoknya biyen sing bantuni kowe anu iki apa maksudnya? Sing berperan
Yo ini jadi mau teman sekelasnya.
for Kristian, the one who helped him push forward is his classmates from local hardcore community bands like that. So that's pretty much it. Ono meneh.
Yo ini
Fuck yeah.
ada yang metalcore.
Muted for a second.
Ada lagi deathcore.
So he started off as from the local hardcore communities. So from there he shifted to metalcore bands and metalcore local communities, and now he shifted with me to, I don't know, deathcore community, but we don't even maybe have that like now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Cool. Question 3, part B.
Yeah.
I mean, we more or less know that you guys are a part of a music scene. So if anything, may I ask, when do you believe, what age do you believe you truly became a part of your local scene, the scene that would eventually culminate and combine forces on Kingdoms of Heresy?
For me, it was maybe just recently. The old me is just, I'm just a kid that plays stuff for fun and shit. But now I'm grows more and more, and even founded this band, and the band grows more in the local community. And like it or not, I maybe automatically a part of the music scene, even though I'm not socially active.
Right. So let's see. You would say that you only really became a part of the scene musically through Eden Adversary then, like maybe within the last year or two, maybe because of
just recently. The
Yeah.
old me, I just like to just doing fun stuff, just attending music concerts like that. I don't really play any bands. Yeah, I have bands in my past, but it was not like a band that do a lot of stages. I just maybe a lot of us in the early days, like just practicing in band studios like that.
Yeah.
And at college, maybe I being active at stages, but I'm not in the metal genres. I was in Japanese community stuff. So I have a band that like play music from G-pop, G-metal, baby metal stuff, and like doing covers like that. So yeah, the early me is like that.
That's cool.
Until I found this band with Kristian.
Sweet. And I mean, really, I think you more or less answered the same question earlier. It's just being asked in a different way, right? So the question would be for Kristian as well, like when he felt, what age he really felt that he became a part of the local scene that would eventually pull in all these various features on Kingdoms of Heresy and, kind of show the world what Indonesia is capable of. Would Kristian say that 17 was the age that he truly became a part of the scene or started becoming a part of the scene? Or was his beginning and his more serious participation, were those at different times?
Jadi kowe mulai serius neng apa skena ngene iki mulai kapan kira-kira? Apa ya pas biyen?
Pas nek mulai serius berarti mungkin pas neng Eden gitu.
Yeah, he pretty much like the ones we talk about. S- at 17 at hardcore scene, he may be serious, but the ones that successful enough, the bands, yeah, maybe this is the band that
Yeah.
got him into more serious, more into the next level of serious like that.
Fair enough. So I think we have our question and we're able then to confirm that answer. So at that point, you guys continue building up, you continue making a name for yourself, you build an identity around these masks, which we'll ask about in a little bit, but very soon, so not to worry. Are there any local heroes that are currently climbing the ranks, in your opinion?
In my opinion, in my local scene, or in my local deathcore scene, the only one currently on the top of deathcore genre is maybe, if you know about the band, it's Revenge the Fate.
Yes, Revenge the Fate. I've heard of them.
Yeah. That is the top of deathcore genre in Indonesia.
Huh. I would think it's either you guys or Makhluk, but fair enough.
He have the most fan base around Indonesia, almost everywhere. Everywhere he got shows, he got huge fan base, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than him is there there is many more deathcore bands in Indonesia that still actively rising up to the climb the ranks in local scene.
Right.
Like maybe you know some of the names like Ludisia. Do you know about it? It is from Bali. He won the metal battle to Wacken. Yeah,
Wacken
You
open air.
yeah.
So you said the project name is Ludorisha?
Indonesia.
Ludisia.
Ludecia?
Ah, yeah,
So Ludecia or something like that?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't want to mispronounce it because there is a Sacramento, California band that we've hosted on the show now multiple times. Second session has yet to be uploaded, in which their name is Lucrezia. So I didn't want to get that confused. Yeah.
A little similar.
Yes. So you guys have Revenge of the Fate. You guys have Ludecia.
Yeah,
You boys.
yeah,
Makhluk.
there- yeah.
Let's see if we go back to that folder, really.
There is more bands like
Yeah.
Esoteric Revelation, Fornication, Crack Domination, and many more like that.
You guys will have to send me all of these bands. That way we
Yeah.
can go on top with all
I
of them.
will send you the link of every band in Indonesia if I have
Do it.
to.
Do it. We're about to take over Indonesia, man. Because I mean, the thing is too, this podcast is a testament, this session specifically is a testament to, and a thank you letter, really, a way of saying thank you, because most of the Anatomy podcast's audience is actually from Indonesia. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
But most of our audience is from Indonesia, when it's not Australia, New Zealand, and the US. So I'm like, I feel the love. I feel the support. We got to continue that support and make it a mutual thing. We got to make it mutually beneficial. So really, this podcast is only part 2 of what will most likely be at least
Yeah.
a dozen podcast sessions. We're ready. Like
Ah.
every band in Indonesia, bro. Let's get you on.
Yeah.
Like,
We
there's a lot of
also-
fucking bands, but
We also thank to you to introduce our local deathcore scenes in Indonesia to the outside world.
yeah. No, that's the beauty of it, really. That's the beauty of it. Like,
So thank you, Owen.
yeah, like honestly, it's kind of fucked, because back in the day, it's like, you see someone as white as me, and they're like, going into these magical foreign lands and stuff, and they don't exactly have the best intention, right? They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're here to take all your gold, and we're gods or whatever, like fucking Cortez with the Mayans or something. I'm like, no, dude, I just want to tell people stories. I want to be an Indonesian deathcore historian, something like that. And then I happen to be bringing friends along the way here, like Finn here. Like, dude, if I remember correctly, this is actually your first session with the band from like across the world with me, right?
Yeah, of course.
I-
It is our first time doing podcast with in English. Actually,
Well, Finn, right, that question was definitely for Finn, but nonetheless, like that's always awesome to hear. Finn, we've only had you on with Desoectomy, right? Like Desoectomy and a couple others.
If you're asking me if I remember, I don't remember. I worked 3 jobs, dude.
Fair enough. I do too. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely getting hard to keep track. So I will definitely just confirm for myself until further notice. Yes, this is Finn's first international session with the podcast. But because we have covered as much of the question 3, quote, the scene, right? We've covered more than enough of that. So I think one thing that we didn't do with Agung those years ago, back in 2021 for episode 4, this would be, quote, location, which I do believe this question made it over to you guys. If not, brief explanation. Location is a little segment where we want to just kind of get your perspective on where you're from, right? And maybe how Indonesia and the surrounding area has infiltrated your creative process in a good way or a bad way, right? Not everybody likes where they're from. I know I'm not. I hate being from Arizona. Way too hot here for a caveman like me, dude. I'm overheating half the time. And then I'm wearing a long sleeve right now. Go figure. But question 4 goes as follows. Question 4, part A. What is something you can tell us about where you're from, geographically speaking? And more specifically, what is something that you can tell us about Indonesia that maybe you feel is kind of stereotyped by other people from other parts of the world?
the first thing is actually this kind of question is not on the script, so maybe
Fair
I
enough.
just improvise it.
Yeah, take your
So
time, honestly.
the
Sorry for the ambush.
the difference is maybe in Indonesia it is a religious country, so
Yes.
everyone in here pay more attention to each other religion and have faith in it. So the first thing is that, and the second is Indonesia is a tropical country, so we only have 2 seasons, like rain or hot, or something like.
So your winters are not that extreme. It's mostly just like tropical weather.
Yeah, the tropical weather is every day, every season is we just like have 2 seasons, like it's just summer and rainy season.
So what's the coldest it gets there?
the the coldest we
Like during the
ever known, maybe like we never ne- we never heard of we reach minus degree at winter at rainy season here.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, the most coldest
What's the lowest
degree,
temperature you've ever seen?
is 20 degrees Celsius in here. Maybe even more lower if you are in top of a mountain like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
There
let's
is a-
see. 20
there is
degrees
a-
Celsius.
Yeah, there is a lot of mountains in Indonesia, and
Yeah.
on the top of it, maybe you can go to minus degrees in there, but in the
Yeah.
city we maybe never reach that height at cold.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, because we over here in the US we use Fahrenheit, right? Celsius
Yeah.
is what the rest of the world uses. I searched it up. You guys only get down to 68 degrees. That
That's
is
like-
insane.
That's somewhere where I come from.
That's ever.
That's somewhere where I come from.
That's fucking
Yes.
awful.
Of course.
Remind me
No.
never to move into a jungle. I'll
Yeah.
visit, but I'm not
Yeah.
moving.
If you want to visit
But-
here, you should be prepared to how hot it is. It is
Oh
in
my
here.
god. What? Okay. So
It's technically summer here right now, and it's 65 degrees today.
yeah. Whew. I mean, bro, I'd rather have your 65 degrees than my 106 degrees. Okay, like this is hell. And I'm in a long sleeve. Help.
I'm good on the heat, dude. I'm gonna move back like to Europe, and like I'm just gonna like retire in like the northern mountains of like Norway or something, up into the
Fuck
snow.
you, you can't leave me here. No, it's let's see. So if 68 degrees Fahrenheit is the coldest it gets there in the more rainy winter seasons,
Yeah.
what is the hottest it gets there on average during the summer? Because I think people who might want a vacation over to
Yeah.
Jakarta or any part of Indonesia, they might need to know this ahead of time.
The hottest degrees in here maybe we once ever to reach 40 degrees Celsius in here. 40 or yang paling panas kok ning ngene. 45 maybe. So we once had a summer so hot that even we can cook an egg at the middle of the road. That's how it is. That is how hot it is in here.
Fair
At the
enough.
height.
So I just looked on public domain and quote, the highest temperature ever recorded in Indonesia was 39.4 degrees Celsius, 105.1 in 2023. Indonesia's average temperature is usually between 73 degrees Fahrenheit and 91 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year, but it can feel hotter during the wet season when humidity is typically 80% or more, which that makes a lot of sense. But however, dry heat is a bitch, bro. I would rather take humidity over dry heat any
Right.
day because of when the sun goes down. It helps naturally just cool off the surrounding area. And that goes for any place I've been where there's like a vast amount of green and vegetation foliage. It just naturally it like releases that water. It releases the heat, it releases the stress upon the earth, and it just cools everything down. It's a good balance. But yeah, let's see. What is the fucking temperature right here right now? It's 82 degrees, but mind you, it's only 8 o'clock. And this is usually about the time when I start work. So in the middle of the day, the last 3 days, it's been 105 degrees. And that's a pretty common day during the summers here. But we are also next door neighbors with Death Valley. So it's hell. It is hell. I would not suggest Arizona to anybody because our housing market is also fucked, but also it's really, really hot here. So please stay out of Arizona for your own good. If you're already used to Canada, if you're already used to Alaska, you will actually shrivel up like a grape and die here. You will probably just burn away into ash. You will probably just puff away into ash and then just fade into the wind.
Disintegrated to smithereens.
Yeah, exactly. Disintegrated into smithereens. Question 4, part B, would read, would you say your history or your legacy, your life in the place that you grew up and were born in affected the way that you would write music?
Maybe me first, the legacy as in my family, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, basically the time that you spent growing up in Indonesia, right? Your local area, would you say that has affected the way that you would eventually write everything for Adversary? So this is not this is attempting to pluck away the music that you found along the way and just keeping in mind the lush jungles and maybe
Yeah.
the more spiritually focused culture that you have there, the people of Indonesia have there, because Agung he told us plenty about how, well, demons are actually blamed for crimes on
Yeah.
national television and shit.
Yeah.
Go all the fucking like, I forgot what they're called specifically, but like little pig demons and shit. You know, they're like, oh, you know, this little pig demon just stole my purse and, you know, darted across.
Yeah. It's
Right, that type of-
Tuyul and babi ngepet.
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, you know, would you say that either the geography or the society that you were born in also affected the way that you would write music?
Yeah, of course. I grew up in a religious family, so I don't know how in early days I don't know how music was created. I don't know how music was how was the process how was the progress, how was the process of creative things like that. So everything I learned it by myself. So otodidak. Yeah, I learned it by myself. So the the local in here we in Muslims apparently maybe some of the more major Muslims in here maybe thinks that music is like prohibited for some kind.
Oh, really? Music was prohibited?
Yeah, for some of the Muslims in here.
Oh, right. Because it's like
The-
down to its roots, you know.
yeah,
Music is one of the creations of Lucifer. So it's like you take that to an extreme, it's like no music, no tapes, no vinyl tapes.
yeah, something like that.
No
So
tapes.
as I grew up, I'm in a religious family. I told to be religious, not to doing any of stuff like drinking alcohol and shit, and or taking any tattoos or something like that. So,
I
the
get they wouldn't like me there then.
yeah. So the 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 content in this album, the Kingdom of Heresy, is like pretty much some critics about the over religious people in Indonesia. So the overly fanatic. Yeah.
And that's what you call your fans fanatics, is
Yeah.
ironically reflecting upon the religious
Yeah.
radicalism over in Indonesia, maybe.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. And look, all that lore, I just dug up and just like popped it right in front of everybody within like maybe a minute. I'm like, oh, that's why you call your fans fanatics. I love that. Like how quickly my brain works when it comes to this more creative shit. But oh no, when I'm doing a call center job, I'm like, everybody can kill themselves. I'm done with this job. Like, it's nothing but negative energy. But I'm like, oh, it clicks. But, so we have that question answered, right?
Yeah.
We kind of understand from Khourne's perspective whether or
Yeah.
not the place that he grew up in affected the way that he would write music. So question 4, part C for Khourne would be, would you say that you are connected to this day to where you are born and raised? And by connected, this is just like, do you commonly reminisce and just look around you and you're like, yeah, I'm born in this very strange place, and therefore I make very, very strange music. Not a lot of people from Indonesia are into it, but for
Yeah.
those who are, those are my brothers. Like, do you have moments like that often to yourself?
Yeah. Often, so often. Even in this country, the deathcore genre is like a bastard child in the scene because in Indonesia they mainly consist of bands like death metal because Indonesia's the most largest community in Indonesia on of metal music is death metal community.
I see.
Maybe in some part of Asia, maybe we can have a pride to say it. So we have the largest community in Asia of death metal community, something like that. So that where the other genre have to uh to overshadow. So everybody just listen to death metal. So the others are just skipped upon, something like that.
Yeah.
The elitist ones and something like that.
Right. Cool. Well, we've now asked all 3 parts of question 4 to Khourne. So, more or less, we want to ask Kristian the same thing real quick. And if anything, what I'll do is I will briefly depart, but because I have sent the questionnaire over to Finn, basically while I'm gone for a short period of time, Finn, go ahead and talk with Khourne and Kristian, and basically have Khourne translate for Kristian all 3 parts of question 4. And I'll be back as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up because I don't know if that went through or not.
Yeah, should be over on Instagram in your DMs.
Oh, you up in my DMs now?
Yeah, I'm always up in your DMs, bro. More specifically, yeah, it says part 4 quote location.
Gotcha. Well, that was actually a question that I was going to ask to begin with, because one of the things I'm always curious about when I talk to people from other countries, because I've been to Europe and I've been to other countries and I've experienced different cultures and different places and the way things are. That was going to be one of my questions is how do you feel like your culture has impacted and influenced your music as far as like your writing process and the content that you put into your music?
Yeah. The maybe the main reason how the process creative was made is maybe it's because most of the content of the lyrics in this album, this Kingdom of Heresy album, is mostly kind of religious because it is taken from the Bible of Abrahamic religions, like Jews, like Muslims, like Christian, all packed up in one album, something like that. Because we are originated from a religious country, so why not make a religious album that's relate to everybody like that?
Gotcha. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting concept hearing that, because like like I said, different cultures, like I assume it's different. I've talked to people from the Middle East that write death metal, and specifically in certain countries where if they were caught making death metal or black metal or deathcore, could be executed
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah, we may not be that extreme, but some of us may feel that way because we created music that people don't understand, in that a music that mostly people don't even know what's in it. They just hear metal music and, oh, is this some satanic shit or something?
Right. Absolutely. No, it's interesting to hear that, like I've said, from my experiences in traveling, different countries and experiencing things differently, even going from one part of Europe to the next part, from France to Germany, is like night and day. Whereas like the French metal scene is big, but they're not as open about it. Whereas, go to Germany and like
Yeah.
that's their commonplace everywhere you go. Either that or what do they call it? Traditional, but it's polka. It's polka music.
Polka music. Yeah.
That's interesting. I was actually, that was one of the first questions I wanted to ask, because I was genuinely curious about that, because it's always interesting to hear like the different takes on things, like from people in different parts of the world, and like how their cultures view or influence what they're doing, whether it be art through music or any other medium of art for that, because a lot of places are very, what's the word I'm looking for people that like come from different cultures and experience that, it's like a culture shock.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to hear like different perspectives, like how it influenced things. I can imagine like from my perspective, if I grew up in an environment like that, would probably influence how I write things a little bit differently, versus what I do now, because of the fact that like I would feel like the opposer of what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
and kind of going in my own direction with it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not basically kind of catch me up on what you guys been talking about. I came in on you asking about polka.
Well, we talked about the culture, like where they're from and the culture, and how that's influenced how the writing process goes with them, as far as like how they would go about writing that, and how their culture or like reflects on how they write. I'm bad with words, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
It's fine.
And
You're good.
you would say that your culture reflects upon your music because you feel like you're the opposition to like I was stating before, the radicalized kind of religious viewpoints of some of the Indonesian culture and society, right?
Yeah,
Or is
yeah.
it okay, cool. Just
But
making
it,
sure I'm caught up and stuff before we,
yeah. But
projectile into
it is
other shit.
it is maybe that in Indonesia, maybe for most of the people in Indonesia that doesn't like metal music, it is controversial. But in the scene, in the communities, it is like, oh, it is usual stuff or something like that. So we don't we don't really switch stuff like that. We just write anything that comes out of our mind like that.
Right.
So in the community, we are cool. We are listening to various kinds of song. We ever listening to songs like gore and stuff, songs like
Yeah.
satanic shit and stuff. But that is only in the circle, in the community stuff. But in the outside world, yeah, we told you about it. So
Right.
Def-
Right. Sweet. Question 5. This would more or less be for Khourne, I do believe. Are you a gearhead?
uh yes, of course. Me and Christian always been a gear nerd. But just also not that much of a gearhead. We both just saw and learn what our circle, our communities had. We don't always have the opportunity to learn the high end gear setups, or maybe even to afford it.
Right. Fair enough. So what's your current setup as far
Ah,
as like, guitar amps, plugins, amps, that type of
ah,
shit?
our current setup is just, maybe for you guys in the West, is just like low issue, low grade equipment or something. Maybe we, but in here it's just manual standard issue for the moment. The For our vocalist use what mic?
Sure SM remote.
Yeah, sure. S sure. The
Sure,
mic you sure.
SM7B.
Sure
Yeah,
SM
Okay.
50. 58 and an in-ear monitors and the
What
guitars you
One of these guys.
Yeah.
yeah
In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, is this not the same? Wait, Telefunken? I don't think that's a sure. Because that says
he
Telefunken.
he wants to pick it. He wants sure. Yeah this
Ooh,
Uh,
Mike Gang.
and
Oh.
this is what he used every day for live shows and
Okay.
he used this for recording also.
Oh shit. Sick. It,
That's
well, it
awesome.
did its job for sure.
Yeah.
It really did its job.
We don't have we live in a third world or you can call it a developing country, so we came from a class that don't have a privilege to buy a high-end setups or something like that. We can
Right.
afford to have the high-end gear or something like that, so maybe we will talk about some low end
So
low
yeah, I
end.
mean that's pretty understandable. You know,
Yeah.
you're in the situation that you are, and you mentioned a turf war, which is like that adds a little bit more spice to the recipe. So
Yeah.
naturally, you got a budget. You got to figure out what you can acquire, what's realistic, and what you can afford
Right.
to invest
Yeah.
before you even make the full album. So yeah, there's no judgment here. A lot of people are dealing with the same issue, whether here in the United States or across the world, because well, the world stage is very shaky right now, and
Yeah.
if it had any like sturdy foundations, most of those are turning to ash or crumbling. So therefore, the whole world is kind of shaky right now. But hopefully, it gets better. Hopefully, it gets better. We'll see.
Yeah.
Speaking of the world shaking right now and like things being like economically
Yeah.
screwed
Even
up.
I want to buy some gears. It is affected by the dollars right now.
Yeah.
So if the dollars get high, the prices of our gear, we want to buy even more higher, something like that.
Right.
So our current setup is the mic he used is Shure SM58 and he have in-ear monitors and what yeah
Oh shit.
he have Wave Air 3 wireless and in-ear monitors. Yeah.
I mean,
And
hell, I wish I had that for my mic. Like not even this mic, but my other mic, because this is actually I try not to talk about it too much, but I'm still proud of it. So of course I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I auctioned this from Dave Simonich of Signs of the Swarm. And this is the mic he used during the Vital Deprivation era, whether in the music videos, on tour, or anything like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
where he was doing vocals. Like this was the mic he used. So very proud of this
Shit.
mic. Yeah, yeah. But you know, that's besides the point. I just love my little collectibles. So
That was the vocalist gear. The guitars use LTDs and sectors with EMGs, and the effects we use HX Stomp and Digitech Whammy. You know, yeah, the one, yeah, for drop tunes, and the bass use custom made Dingwall series. Yeah, and Douglas MXR and Nux MG30 and some Digitech drop. And the drums use custom snare, standard Nebulae cymbals, and speed cobras for pedals, TM2 for triggers, and a laptop and sound card for sequencers and something like that. So maybe that's just it. That just our current setup.
cool. So let's see. Finn actually has to depart here pretty soon. Finn, did you want to ask any questions before you had to check out?
Where's your current social media at? Like, are you guys on Instagram or Facebook or?
We most of our members are not openly into social media, so
Definitely.
we usually try to hide our our accounts because it is a private life, behind the scene, something like that.
Sure, sure. I was
Um,
I was speaking collectively, like as the band itself. Do you guys have a social media collectively at the band page so I can follow you guys and keep updated on like what
yeah,
you're putting out?
their Instagram is Eden Adversary. Their Facebook, let's see. I'm pretty sure that that's a there's nothing special behind the tag for that, but I'll check out the link real quick. Yeah, I mean everything is at Eden Adversary. The profile picture will be like a maroon background, and it has their emblem on the front, which is a sun and a whole bunch of other stuff inside it. So, yeah, they definitely got socials.
Definitely. Well, I definitely wanted to keep track of like what's going on and keep updated. Like,
Yeah.
especially when this album drops. Like, are you guys going to be releasing strictly to like streaming services, or are you doing vinyl cuts too?
At the date on 22nd of June, maybe all will be released on digital platforms. You can check it on Spotify, on YouTube Music, Apple Music, and stuff. And we will release it through physical releases. We have CDs ongoing. We have maybe vinyl some days, but not not in recent maybe. Yeah, that pretty much it. You can see our updates in the main social media of Eden Adversary, but our members social media maybe not so much
That's fair.
open.
That's
I
fair.
understand. I understand completely. Especially the anonymity. I understand that completely.
Cool. Well, we covered their social media and stuff, so everybody go follow them if you haven't already. I know Eden Adversary has built quite a reputation for themselves. And I mean, simply said, we've only really unintentionally really name dropped two of the members. I mean, we just call him Khourne, so we're not actually calling him by his real name. That should be less problematic, less source, like something you can track per se
Yeah.
for all you weirdos out there.
But
And then,
it is
you know,
fine though. It is
Yeah.
fine. In my local communities, all of my friends always know my real name.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Fair enough.
but,
Well,
but in the eyes of the public, maybe some of them don't even know our names, something like that.
right. I'm sure you'd prefer that. But to prepare to conclude what will be the first half of the podcast session as Finn prepares to depart, but we're just like continuing to look to get to know you a little bit better before we kind of depersonalize you, turn you into Eden Adversary, and ask the more clickbait questions of the podcast. What lessons have you learned as a person or musician, and how did those lessons drive you, or how could they apply to others trying to accomplish what you have so far?
This is for me and Christian. We already talked about this. For me, for us, don't pursue to be a full-time musician for a career, especially if you are passionate in metal or hardcore or underground scenes. Don't hope to get don't get your hopes up to get rich or being rock and roll by a metal musician, because that's gonna fuck you up in here. I can guarantee it, because there is too much example in my community. People come and go and maybe fuck up their life because of it, because they too much into the community, too much have have everything to spend in the community. So instead, maybe as I can remember, maybe instead you should have a steady career, work or income to support your passion as a metalhead. Because from my experience, the only thing you can do to make money from being a full-time musician in here, especially, is to become a mixing, mastering, sound engineers, or huge
Artist, maybe.
yeah, huge band merchandise industry, something like that, or being huge shows, even organizers. Yeah, that's pretty much how can you make income from a full-time music industries.
Right.
But in here, maybe, yeah, we always do it aside from our daily lives, so it's not our main job.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, over here in the West too, we learned that the hard way a long time ago, is that is it not only is it foolish to pursue music as a full-time career unless you get lucky, like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Leonard
yeah,
Skinner, Alice in Chains, any of those iconic counterculture musicians. Um, there is a point in time where you need to understand that it's not a financial backbone. But the beauty of it is, if people see that you have a full-time job and then you're also doing music, the right people will appreciate that you're able to multitask so well. And eventually, if you're consistent, if you have a good marketing niche, if you have a good marketing mindset, you're surrounded by authentic people who won't be problematic later on. And I think those are all the variables I can think of. And this is just something I've learned from hosting this show, even. It's kind of the reason I started this show, among other reasons, is to
yeah,
learn what it's like and learn what is most important about
yeah,
being a musician if you want to make money off of it, if you want
yeah,
to monetize off of it. But more specifically, if you have all those things that I mentioned in mind, but you also continue to have a financial backbone that does not rely on the creative medium, not only will you always or continue to have that passion, that love, that creative mindset for the music, as opposed to just having the music creation be the business aspect. And you're like, yo, we got to get this done as soon as possible. And there's just no passion or love involved in it anymore.
yeah,
I think that having a career that has you step outside of the musical realm as well is just good for mental balance. Um, if you don't really have anything outside of music, the moment that music doesn't work, that means your life doesn't work, or at least it feels like that. And that's
yeah,
not good. That's a very, very poisonous life to leave, or to
yeah,
lead, not leave. So I can definitely agree with you guys on that. It's just, I mean, once upon a time, I was told to not have my hobby be the main focus, even though back then that wasn't the case either. But someone misunderstood that. It is just important to not have your creative mediums be what you live off of. That would be
yeah,
fun, but at the same time, it wouldn't be fun forever. So just keep that in mind, people. Another band, another show, another session where, that's kind of one of the main epiphanies, is that you don't want your creative medium, the thing that you do to kind of de-stress, relax, ignite some endorphins and dopamine within your brain. You do not want that to also be the reason that you're able to make money, because then you won't really have a realistic viewpoint on life. But I think if you both are at agreement with that answer to the question, question 7, quote, 5
okay,
character slots, whether new favorite artist, albums, or singles, or even people that pushed Kingdom of Heresy to its final state. And what that means is, what are some albums, artists, people, or other creations that would really grind the gears and help you guys, inspire you guys to make this first full-length album?
mm, maybe we can start it from Christian. How about
Cool.
you? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Artisnya udah.
Artisnya sembarang.
The artist mother.
He likes Die
So,
Art is Murder.
Flash Card Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Shadow of Intense, Chelsea Greens.
That's that's three. Yeah, two more.
Two more. Humanity Last Breath,
Ah,
Black Tongue.
and black. So he likes the artist mother. He likes Flash God Apocalypse. He likes sing kedua mau apa? He likes Chelsea Green. He likes Humanity Last Breath. He likes Black Tongue from UK.
Sweet.
And the people and the communities, maksudnya album-album sing anu ono sing mbok anu gak? Hah?
Black Tongue Nabi.
Yeah, he likes the album Nadir from Black Tongue. And yeah, he also like Immortal from Lorna Shore.
Who doesn't? No, I'm kidding.
And
That's cool.
wong-wong sing anu, wong-wong sing mendorong kowe nggo apa album iki? Yeah. Yeah, and the people who pushed our album, maybe our communities, on the people around
The
Eden
fanatics.
Adversary. Yeah. For me, it is the artist that pushed the album is maybe I heavily influenced by Flash God Apocalypse, by maybe Thy Artist Mother, Lorna Lorna Shore, maybe, but not so much. Maybe I like the Immortal albums and some of Shadow of Intent, Humanity Last Breath, and the one that push our albums with maybe the people around us, our friends, our communities. They always ask us how when your albums come out. It's
Yeah.
the same question.
included.
So we started to hurry up. So that makes the album into its final state.
Cool. And I do appreciate both of you kind of providing me a deeper insight into just your own minds as far as maybe other bands, artists, albums, and people that helped influence the creation of this record. It's always cool to hear, even if it, for example, we're talking with the Black and Deathcore band right now. Even if almost every single time we talk to a Black and Deathcore band, they're all like, yeah, Lorna Shore's Immortal. That was a game changer. It's like, yeah. It was. I'm glad we all agree. Like,
Yeah.
it's
When
good
that
shit.
album is to come out, everyone was mind blown by
They really were. Like, I
Yeah.
still have yet to. I think one of my plans as a vocalist is to cover the entirety of Shrine of Mouse's Sheol, because that's one of my favorite records of all time. But then after that, I want to conquer Lorna Shore's Immortal. And then after that, I want to get Lorna Shore's Pain Remains covered in its entirety. I might even look into doing like a live stream where I'm just doing live one take vocal playthroughs for every single song on those albums. But you know, that's a lot. That's a lot. So here's to hoping one day that could be a thing. And if people want that to happen, well, let me know and I'll do my best to accommodate. So last question for part 1 of this glorious, unholy anatomy podcast session. Quote, question 8. What do the members of Eden Adversary do for fun or recreationally to connect outside of musical creation? And this question, more specifically, would just be on a person by person basis. Like, Khourne, what do you believe is something that Eden Adversary does to connect outside of musical creation as people?
For me, maybe personally, I do have families. I have a wife and a son, so I prioritize to have fun with my families first.
Right.
Yeah. I also being religious in my daily lifestyle, something like that. I
Okay.
also play some of games, a lot of them like RTS games or maybe MOBAs or maybe FPS, something like that.
Yeah.
Also, and I also like some Japanese pop cultures, some weeb animes, Japanese stuff like that, and sometimes participate in Japanese culture communities here. So that's not entirely I'm on the metal scene.
Right. So, Corn, what is is there an anime you're actively watching right now when you have the time? And if so, what is the anime? Because I'm super curious on what you're watching right now.
Right now,
Or like, recently. Something
yeah,
that a show that you're completing recently.
maybe recently I just doing two shows like an easy one like Shangri-La Frontier.
Yes. Yes. That show is so good. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
I like it so much because it is related to me from the gamer perspective. I like to do MMOs as well in my old days.
But do you like to play trash MMOs for the fun of it?
that's a different story. That's him. That's the main character. I don't do it like that. But that's the fun part of the enemies.
The intro is really good too.
Yeah, I
Da,
really
da,
like.
da, da, da,
Yeah,
da.
I really like the story. How is story going? Beside that, maybe I I I really like JoJo Bizarre Adventures. I really like it from part 1 until the part 6 right now. It is aired on Netflix. Uh I I lot of watch I I watch a lot of stuffs of animes like that, but the only thing I can remember is that I told you about maybe just the recent the most recent maybe that's Shangri-La Frontier, but my favorite maybe yeah, that's JoJo Bizarre Adventure.
I'm about to send you a song that's gonna blow your mind, dude. If you like JoJo, bro, haha, my buddies in Lucrezia,
Yeah.
they made a song called Sleeping Slaves of Fate, and it's themed off of JoJo.
Ah.
So I'm about to send you that shit.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I think you'll love it.
Ah.
And then in that case, you might be able to make a new friend over here in the West. I just sent the link, so hopefully you'll like that song.
Yeah, yeah.
Christian, same question.
Oh, okay.
Maksudnya kehidupanmu di luar band-bandan ini apa? Yeah, Christian pretty much same with me actually. He do have families, he have a wife and a son. He prioritize with work every day, but in games he likes to play console games at most.
What console
And
games do you play?
no.
Apa? Saya
Do you play COD Modern Warfare 3?
Uh he played through PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay, check.
Oh. What? Game apa game?
Oh, it's Ghost of Tsushima.
The Ghost of Tsushima.
Woo, let's
He,
go.
he yeah, he recently played that and what?
League of Legends.
He also actively playing League of Legends. If you
Ah.
ever heard of.
Do you not have pardon me, do you not have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3?
Oh no.
No,
Nah,
okay.
I'm
Fair
sorry.
enough.
In most of us in Indonesia, we don't have high end setups like playing Call of Duty Warzone things or something like that. So maybe for FPS we just playing Apex Legends or Counter Strike, something like that. Valorant,
I see. Okay.
yeah,
Cool. Well, that will conclude the first half of the podcast, in which the second half, like I'm really hoping it doesn't end up being the first half, because we usually end up getting through the second half pretty quick here. But part two would be just talking about the band, talking
Yeah.
about talking to Khourne and Kristian as if they are not Khourne and Kristian, but act and answer as one, which ironically they've been doing the entire time anyways. So question one would be one of the most clickbait questions I can ever ask, but it's always fun to learn the lore behind it, right?
Yeah.
So how was the name Eden Adversary decided?
So we founded the band. So most of the name was suggested by me, and in the first time deciding it, I just looking for a name that is so evil and not used in the global scene. So what I look and search for names, and I also at the first I also decided what theme we use as creative process, and we should maybe if we want to viral, we should take a theme of controversial topics of religion and politics and disguised as an enemy of God. Then what word describe an enemy of God? Well, yes, it is an adversary, and it is decided that way. Even though we looks maybe so scary or controversial in our music, but our lyrics maybe mostly is about warning and precaution. So our name is actually made to condemn the corrupt people who hypocritically thinks they represent the good side
Yes.
or heaven or Eden, like something like that.
Right. So your point, your intention with most of the lyrical themes of every song, even the album, would be to actually make people aware of the true
Yeah.
adversaries of Eden.
Yeah.
I like that. That's really cool. And see, I'll tell you what, boys. Just from that, I would give the band name if there was a rating system. I haven't really made a rating system before, but I would definitely give the name a 10 out of 10. Like that's so fucking cool. Because the thing is, there are so many bands in the scene, and it's okay. I don't condemn them or judge them because of this, but there are too often bands which their names literally they're just like, yeah, it sounded cool, it just sounded right.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you guys are like, well, yeah, it sounded cool, but also we are trying to educate and relieve the ignorance of the masses to the true adversaries of Eden.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I like that. And it provides a more educated, more peaceful, more practical, anti-religious, musical creative context, right?
Yeah.
Bands like Nithful, right? They write music from the point of view of God and Satan and talk about the destruction of the world, and they make it as heavy as possible. The creation of God is, well, the darker, deeper secrets of the Bible from the perspective of God. There are so many interpretations of it now, but what's most important to me is that there are so many different interpretations that can easily be distinguished from one another. Because the moment that, for example, parallel reality, I guess, Eden Adversary is just another one of those bands. It's just it sounded cool, sounded evil, sounded satanic. There's literally nothing else to it that would provide less firepower and less like authenticity. And I think other than the production, the really good production of the album, then you could only remember the album as being that collective effort from the Indonesian heavy counterculture community. But then you add this other layer on top of it with the band name and the lore behind it. And you kind of start developing a sheet cake, and who doesn't like a sheet cake? You know, who doesn't like multiple layers of just super sweet and super
Sweet.
bold?
Oh,
So
yeah.
after asking that question, right? We don't usually have the opportunity to ask this question because even all the bands that we've hosted so far, or the artists that we've hosted so far, that happen to have masks incorporated into their act, into their marketing strategy, into their image, pardon me. Eden Adversary is officially the first band to kind of come onto the podcast with their onstage look, onstage presence. So, what inspired what to me seems to be silver Oni masks? When did you guys kind of first come up? How did you first conjure that idea? That's a better word. How did you guys first conjure the idea of the masks, and why do they work with the name to you?
It is because at the first we decided to have a we decided at first to have a controversial theme of an album, of a song. So in here it is really dangerous, so we try to hide our identity or something like that. So we try to make a mask, then walk mask look be really maybe
Intimidating.
intimidating to people, intimidating to uh yeah to everyone that shows like now. But we also made this ourselves,
That's sick.
so
I like that.
it is handmade. So
What
it
is
is
the material on the masks?
huh?
What is the material? Is it like plastic or metal?
It is what is it called? Pusati. Wait.
Are
Let
they
me.
pretty delicate masks or are they pretty sturdy?
It is pretty delicate. It is
Fair enough.
easily
Oh, I see.
easily bent. The color we chose to be a metal because we want to look that the mask is tough, but apparently it is not because it is handmade.
Well, do you guys are if you let's see, if the materials right now and so far with the masks are pretty delicate, right? If the masks are pretty easily breakable in the future, are you guys planning to like continue building upon maybe the sturdiness, the material of the masks? That way they're more sustainable, one, two, being that they're meant to be intimidating, or maybe speaking for the turf wars that you were mentioning earlier, or even just sustaining privacy. Are you guys planning to explore a market in the future where the fanatics have their own version of your Oni masks to purchase online?
Maybe in the future, in the second album, maybe we will change our mask entirely. So our mask is decided by because we want to hide our personalities behind it like that. So at first we maybe at that time it was decided by Kristian. How about we take a mask, but how it is distinguished from other bands that have a mask, something like that. So we use this uniform. We at the vocalist use the main mask one.
Yeah.
Well, the instrumental is just half of
Yes.
the face, and top of us is used like
Corpse paint.
corpse paint like that. So it's represent the black metal scene, something like that. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Maybe in the black metal scene, people are not like this because a deathcore band use this kind of costumes and something like that.
Right. I mean, honestly though, this is very, very, very important to me. I'll have you know, because there are bands like Worm Shepherd where Devin Duarte, no longer in the band. They're having to make adjustments now, which is like crazy to think about. Near the beginning, you know, he had the corpse paint that he did, and him and Alec Maleficus Lopez of Slaughter the False Prophet, they both did that. They brought back the corpse paint. You see all these bands with corpse paint or with the masks. Alex, Slaughter to Prevail, Alex Terrible. I have one right there. Or even bands like Bone Carver, reincarnated from Cannibal Grandpa. They have the like literal like stinkfish, you know.
Yeah.
It offers immediate difference from other bands. It makes you distinguishable.
Yeah.
So with you guys being Eden Adversary, but ironically, you're actually trying to educate people and relieve them of the ignorance, relieve them of the obliviousness of the true adversaries to Eden. I think the only thing that I would suggest, like from my own personal opinion, is that you guys have the silver masks, right? You kind of like turn them into plastic or metal. That way, you know, whether it's to bonk yourself and you're like, ow, that actually hurt that time. What the heck? These are sturdy now. Whatever it could be for a practical effect on stage. Just start staining them with gold paint. That way it's like more angelic. And then have your corpse paint beneath it, right? And I mean, the reason I was asking you guys in the DMs, I'm like, hey, are you guys looking to sell a mask? Like, I want to buy a mask off of you boys. I'm like, well, more specifically, and I was thinking of doing this as well with this mask, is actually back when I advocated for Ukraine, right? But in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and back when I wanted to provide support for that, I was actually planning on painting like in Ukrainian, like, you know, long live Ukraine, or what, my finger's going the wrong way. I was going to paint like right here or so, like long live Ukraine in Ukrainian. Times have changed. I'm a little bit hesitant on that now because of some darker secrets I'm learning about Ukraine, like their involvement in child trafficking and shit, which could be controversial for the show. But I'll take the hit for that solely by saying that, by stating that. So now I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm like, well, if the boys just like kind of splattered gold paint or even like did writing and stuff on their masks in their respective language, maybe that would help them distinguish from other bands in the scene. Or even with the uniforms, start like just painting in Malaysian, like we are not the true adversaries of Eden. We're trying to warn you, like this is a warning, and that could be a marketing strategy as well. Because religious radicalism and religious extremism is such a thing worldwide, whether in the monotheistic sense or behind the scenes, you have the monotheists who are actually theistic Satanists and they like to sacrifice people or animals. You know, bring more awareness to that while also incorporating your own culture. I would always encourage that for any band around the world, because no matter what, at the end of the day, people will then understand Eden Adversary to be that one band with like all the Malaysian writing painted on their arms that they then have to explain after their show. And then they have the silver Oni masks, which is meant to depict them as kind of false martyrs, or even their own version of angels that are a little bit more realistic, because at first they're intimidating, but really they're just trying to tell you the truth, right? Because, dude, ain't the wheel angels, right, from the Judas scriptures and all that, so different than what we have over here in the West, or what we had over here in the West for the longest time.
The real angels look like deformed, absolute monstrous. Yeah,
they look like monsters. They're not exactly chimera or centaurs or cyclopses. But you know, they're monsters. They really are, and they happen to be the minions of this higher form that most likely just
I'm over here getting ready for work and like making protein shakes, and he's having technical difficulties.
Okay, so where did I last leave off?
You're talking about the mask of angelic things.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it takes me back, And you think of the angels and how literally the angels in the Judas scriptures, they're not good. So it's like, what if the silver masks, the silver oni masks, are just reflections of your true inner nature, but then the gold splattered on it is like the blood of angels or something, and you're just like, hey, we're actually not bad people, and we're trying to educate you on the true evil of the world that just disguises itself as something greater and better than anything past humanity, anything beyond mortality. But just kind of like manifesting shit, throwing that out there, because I think it's so very cool that you guys are all doing just different variations of the Oni mask, and then you have the corpse paint beneath that. I know if I was living in a tropical country, I wouldn't want to fucking do that. I'm sure it gets very, very sweaty and difficult to do a lot. But
I'm sweating right now.
There you go. I'm glad I'm glad it's not melting off of your face per se. I see the shine on your forehead, but I'm like, okay, it seems like they're doing good. So in your opinion, other than really the mask, right? The masks, the silver Oni masks, and the irony, the contradiction in the band name itself, what separates Eden Adversary from other bands in the blackened deathcore or Ignite the Church community to you?
Firstly, maybe disclaimer. We first want to be we want to be known as symphonic deathcore band because we mainly use symphonic elements more than we use black metal elements. So the first thing that differs us from the rest is, first, we use visual concept, we use masks and uniforms. The first uniform we released we looks like mafias with tuxedo and suit, like something like that. We use full tuxedos like mafias and shit and something. But when we try it on stage on the first time, it is so hot we can't bear the heat. So we decided to change it like this, full black. So, and the second thing is that we use an actual Abrahamic religion script in our theme and concept. So we also use a critic in politics and humanity. And the sound is mostly maybe influenced by modern deathcore bands, maybe filled with atmospheric black metal riffs and choruses and downtune slamming breakdowns and something like that. But our theme is mainly taken from Abrahamic religions, taken from the Judaism, taken from Muslims, taken from the Christianity, something like that.
Sweet. Yeah, that's fair. Would Kristian agree, or does he have anything else he wants to add to that?
He maybe can talk as fluent as
Right. Just like saying if he added anything else he wanted to add that you can translate for him. Just regarding what separates Eden Adversary from other bands in the symphonic deathcore community.
Yeah, in Indonesia we try to explore more. Maybe in the West we don't distinguishable, but in Indonesia we made more like distinguishable amongst the other deathcore bands. And there is not many deathcore bands in Indonesia, so we always automatically stand out more by looking like this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. So I mean, of course, more or less, that is me diving into the mind, into the commentary, and the nature of questions that a journalist or a reporter would ask, right? But really, yeah, that's exactly what makes you guys so special. The masks, right? the religious, political, your
Politics.
lyrical content, and then the fact that you're doing that in the part of the world that you are, that's enough. That's enough for me. I know that for damn sure. If that's not enough for any brand new listeners for Eden Adversary, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like these guys have something very, very special going on an international scale, and that is exactly why I bugged these guys for months. For months. I was like, we need to get you on the show. They're like, okay, relax. We're working on the album. I'm like, but I need to get you on now. It's such a thing for a long time, at least like a year in the making, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
God damn. Yeah, no. I've been bugging these guys for a long time. I'm surprised we even did the session. I was annoying them so much. They're like, yo, we're working on an album. We'll let you know. I'm like, but podcast. Let's do it.
Thank you for sabar ya, Bu. Thank you for staying with us.
Oh yeah, of course. I wouldn't miss this opportunity for the world.
For being
Consistent or relentless.
wait. I suddenly don't know the word of it. Oh my god. Google Translate. Oh my god.
You're good. I told you were allowed to do that. Come on.
Thank you for being patient.
Oh, yes. Patient. Of course. It's the reason this podcast exists in the first place, is because like I have to be as patient as I do. Like it's one of my sustaining characteristics is just being patient, just like biding my time and planning things out. So yeah, of course. It's like this is second nature to me. So I think now would be a really solid time as we kind of get to the end of our podcast today, with Finn in hand as well, just in the shop doing his thing, preparing for his Friday. I think we should go under the skin of Kingdom of Heresy, which means track by track lyrical analysis of the album, and really just telling any stories that you might want to tell about, like, maybe even stuff that didn't make it to a recorded BTS behind the scenes bloopers moment, right? Maybe anything goofy that happened behind the scene. Like, let's go ahead and reminisce, because when it comes to albums or EPs, especially this being your first full-length album, having all the collaborations on it that it does, me being able to quote it as a collective demonstration of Indonesian heavy counterculture of the modern day, there's a lot to talk about. So let's first start out with something a little bit more calm, casual, collected, right? So imagine you're going into a library. I mean, you find a book like this, which is, the book series that I'm reading right now. I love it. One of my favorite movies growing up, and still is one of my favorite movies. So imagine you find Kingdoms of Heresy in your local library, and maybe the album cover is the binding, right? That you see the front, and you see that chimera deity, whatever he is, and then you see the people kind of behind him. I might even try to edit the album cover into this. That would be pretty funny. So you see the cover, and you're like, okay, so Kingdoms of Heresy by Eden Adversary, or maybe even just Kristian and Khourne, and people are like, wait, isn't Khourne a band? No, it's a person. So then you turn it over to the other side, and you have this chunk of script, you have this chunk of text. This one reads, sometimes the enemy comes from within ... and there's a small paragraph, a small excerpt of text. So if you were to fill out a book format for Kingdoms of Heresy, what would be right here? What would be that chunk of text on the back of the book that is supposed to entice you to open up the book in the first place
First place.
and be like, well, this is a story about what seems to be an army and these citizens with either gouged out eyes or blacked out eyes. And they're like, oh, this weird, like, chimera deity has come down from the skies and he's about to, like, what is he here for? Why can't I see? Like, what would be the text on the back of the book?
Okay, let's start it. The story of Kingdom of Heresy is about the events of the world's end of time, taken from Bibles and books of Abrahamic religions,
Ooh.
from Muslims, from Christian, from Jews, and bring the story to what if the story take a wrong turn. There is, there is in Christianity, there is a second coming where Jesus falls down to earth to say, nah, what if the story take a wrong turn? When the world is dying, there is no savior of humanity. When the Antichrist comes, there is no second coming of Jesus. And when the evil superpower nation or people at the end of the world and the end of times take over the world and creating chaos and depravity. And all of that concludes and end on one evil chaotic order, a kingdom of heresy. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, I like that. So is this character on the album cover this weird chimera with 3 heads with snakes for fingers, but yet the torso and the bottom, like the body of a man, really, maybe disguised with that sash as a Messiah before. Maybe that's the reason there's a song called Messiah on here, is to allude to this false Messiah. Who or what the fuck is on the album cover?
On the main one in the middle is on the half to below. He is the Messiah, but on the top and the hand of things, he is a false Messiah because there is the head, there is the demonic appearances. He is controlled by the lords of Gehenna. So he is controlled by, he is work under the evil side of things. He works under Lucifer or something. And in our Muslims story, he is the false Messiah. He is the Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal.
Oh yeah.
So,
does he have a name?
In Christianity, maybe you call him an antichrist, but in our religion, in Muslims, it was called Dajjal. Yeah,
So this is supposed to be the devil.
Yeah, it is supposed to be the devil, but it is supposed to be the devil, but the devil here is actually pretending to be a good one. So that is how dangerous it is. So it is personating Jesus. It is personating our Messiah, our Savior, our Lord and Savior, but it is not. It is twisting people into depravity and as to join him to his kingdom, to his kingdom of heresy or something like that.
Right. And what I think is fascinating too with this album cover is it looks like there's Jesus actually on the floor with the crowd. He's like this first gentleman in the blue shirt or in the blue robe, like right beneath this false Messiah. And I don't know how specific the details were on this entity, on this deity, on this false Messiah. I was totally thinking this was like, if I go to Dante's Inferno and utilize that lore, that way I'm not sounding like a complete moron. Let's see, Dante's Inferno.
I can share you my
Yeah, there we go. Right. So I mean, looking this up and like looking it up on public domain, I remember there was this one demon. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Apparently there are things called Malabranch, and this is from the Divine Comedy. Quote, the demons in the Inferno of Dante's Divine Comedy who guard Bolgia 5 of the 8th
Yeah,
circle.
Dante Inferno.
Yeah. Dante's Inferno. So like, I guess the details, the very specific details on this deity had me wondering like if it was a specific Duke Lord or even like, you know, one of the minions of hell. I forgot there was a like literally there's a chimerical or a chimera figure, but you know, it's apparently the devil. So
Yeah.
it is a false messiah.
The chimera concept, it is because we decided the messiah, the false messiah is controlled by the lords of Gehenna. So the lord of Gehenna consists of 7 deadly sins. So we packed all into one person in the center.
Gotcha.
So there is the hand, there is the head. The left one is a wolf. The right one is a
pig.
It's a pig. Yes.
Yeah.
And on the crotch, there is an older depiction that the crotch have a face of itself.
Interesting.
But
Well,
actually, we can do it in Indonesia because it will be so unused. It will be so uncontroversial. We cannot publicly announce it.
Display.
Yeah, we cannot display it on Indonesia, something like that.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, as we kind of dive into the under the skin and go under the skin of Kingdom of Heresy, we have track 1, which is Abandoned Hope. Featuring Tino Fiensmuth. What is going on with this song, lyrically speaking?
Yeah, it is the track 1 of the album, and it is about the hopelessness when the end times is coming. We want to show the world what is in the album, and we want to show the hopelessness when the end times is coming, when the doomsday is coming.
Sweet.
And the second one is Blight and Despair. Yes. Eve was trying to take the apple of Eden, and they banished from heaven and go down to earth or something like that.
Okay. If I may
And-
ask you, with both track 1 and track 3 as well, one thing I would love to provide your audience and my audience insight into is why you decided upon the features that you decided to pluck from your local scene for these songs. Because like you said, not only are these friends of yours, not only are these Indonesian local musicians, but they are also all from very different genres of metal
Yeah.
and rock compared to that of Eden Adversary.
Yeah.
So I would love to kind of dive into going back to Abandoned Hope a little bit. Why did you end up wanting to get a more traditional black metal vocalist featured on this track?
Because it is the song for itself, it is about hopelessness. So
Bleakness.
yeah, the feature of our first track is from black metal bands called Fitments. They also have the same sound like sad or some depressive shit like that.
Right.
So we decided to add him at the first track because it is correlated to our music.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely just wanted to dig a little bit more into that. Maybe there was maybe even he reached out to you for
Yeah.
the feature and was like, I would love to be on this song. And like, you guys were like, okay, cool. We were planning to ask you anyways. Like, we want to try to tell stories like that where we can. Just kind of more strange predicaments that led to this collaboration. And then let's go ahead and bounce back over to Sin Providence with Avan of Demented Heart.
Yeah.
Can you hear it, Sin? Such a cool name for a technical death metal band. So
Yeah.
what was the reason you wanted to get a technical death metal guitarist and vocalist featured on this song? Maybe was it the skill and the reputation that Avan had, or was there something just kind of very strange and almost alien about the first sin, that being the apple of Eden?
Maybe it is because he is the first one. He is a talented technical death metal vocalist and guitarist. So we want to ask him to join the album, something like that. So he is also one of the maybe even the one of the on the high. His band is the high tier in the Indonesian death metal community. He is the one, maybe the only one. Yeah, not the only one actually. Maybe the top one in the death metal community. So we respect him a lot. So we asked him to join us in this album.
Sweet.
Because he also have the skill and so on.
So maybe perhaps Sin Providence and Avan from Demented Heart featuring on it was more from a point and a decision based out of admiration and just respect for his musicianship.
Yeah. Most of it are from there.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. Track 4, we have Morbid Faith.
Yeah, track Morbid Faith is about a faith that's maybe so evil, twisted, and awful that began to risen in the known world at the end of times. And yeah, the track 4 is about that, and the track 5.
All right. Track 5, we have the Messiah.
Yeah, this is a remake from our earlier song.
That's right, it is. Shit, okay, cool.
Is about the coming of Antichrist, as you know, the false Messiah in the cover, and Al-Masih ad-Dajjal in the term of Muslim religion, and how it tells you how he will twist people, bend their minds to obey his
Will.
To obey his will and join his religion, and creating chaos over the world because of his lies and something like that.
Right.
And track 6. Blood of Versions is about the mankind deep hatred for other diversity like religions, races, ethnics, and holy wars from the past and the present, and how it will affect the future, something like that.
Okay.
And
maybe Blood of Versions is just, product of prejudice or even prejudice.
yeah. Something. And the 7 is about the fanatics is about the extremist religions and politics, the fanatics that spread the evil thoughts and evil deeds around the world and something like that. And the 8th track is about every nation known to man is in war with each other and crumbling down until it breaks, and the people suffering because of it.
Understood.
And the track 9
Let's go.
is about the rise of a kingdom created by the man left by the last war, the corrupted and the twisted through the events before the track before, and united under one chaotic order, that is the heretic kingdom, a kingdom of heresy.
Right.
And the last track is Lord of Gehenna. Yeah, this is the last track you probably already known.
Yes. Yes, this is the one that started it all. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lords of Gehenna featuring Agung from Makhluk.
And the one pulling down the strings behind the curtain, the 7 deadly sins, the primordial evil known from the first time man even set foot on earth, the Lords of Gehenna.
Sweet.
That is the one pulling down the strings behind the curtain.
So, with Lords of Gehenna, was there any specific reason that you boys wanted to get Agung from Makhluk featured onto the song? Do you feel that perhaps, despite him being the Lord of the Dunia Lane,
Yeah.
the underworld in Indonesian, like that's how you say it in Indonesian language. So, do you regard him as one of the Lords of Gehenna in your band's narrative, or Was it more or less his almost AC/DC seeing screaming style that you wanted to see just kind of project and ascend through another band's feature?
At first, maybe we asked him because of the unique style of his vocals or something like that, and the correlation between him to be the Lord of the Underworld, it's relatable to the Lord of the Gehenna, Lord of the evil. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. And I do believe, other than one last question, that would be the end of the Under the Skin session, as I know it's getting closer to 12 for you boys over in Indonesia. So I will do my best to kind of skim through this. Question 4. After conducting a lobotomy for Kingdom of Heresy, and after us concluding the first half of the podcast session talking about bands that inspired all the members in Eden Adversary, what do you think on a person-by-person basis distinguishes Kingdom of Heresy from other iconic records relevant to the Ignite the Church community? Because it's not black and deathcore, but it definitely has religious themes. It has religious elements. It's deathcore. It's heavy. It also has orchestrations. Like it's definitely Ignite the Church, if not black and deathcore to me. So what do you think distinguishes this record from other albums in the Ignite the Church community, in your own personal opinion?
In my opinion, maybe in the theme in this Kingdom of Heresy is more relatable to people that have faith in Abrahamic religions, especially in Indonesia. We try to make the composition simple, not making it some like technical or something hard to listen, something like that. We because we want to tell a journey so that more people can easily enjoy and listen and dive into the story further.
Right. Sweet. Let's see. And does Kristian have any other commentary to provide regarding that question, or maybe his own answer to that question that you can translate?
No, he's a quiet person, yeah, because maybe our language barrier.
Right, that's fair. Okay. So, question 5: How and why did Kingdom of Heresy become an album instead of an EP?
Why did it become an album? Yes, it is because my ego at first. At this point, I want to have an album that represent my feelings in the world. Then it is become some of, and because it is some of the local Indonesian communities, when they talk about an achievement for a band, the first thing they ask is, do your band already had an album? That the first thing when they ask about the band,
Right.
and it has become the benchmark to rate to bands all over in Indonesia. Do
Right.
your band already had an album? So instead, maybe of an EP, because an EP is more shorter, and yeah, so then we became an album instead.
Fair enough. Let's see. Well, now we have more or less asked all the questions that we have in our scripted questionnaire to Khourne and Kristian from Eden Adversary. It has now been basically 4 hours since we've done this podcast session, since we've started this podcast, starting with the front to back session for Kingdom of Heresy, a legendary album that will be coming out near the tail end of June 2024. This is history for this band. This is their first full-length effort, but not only that, it allows for connections. It allows for all walks of Indonesian metal, hardcore, rock and black metal to have some spotlight, other than, of course, the stage presence and the front and center view, right? That bands like Revenge of the Fate or even Makhluk might have, compared to even Eden Adversary. If anything, you guys have to be third place. You have to be third place as far as like the world stage for Indonesian heavy counterculture. There's no fucking way. So
we will try. We will try.
no, I mean, you're already there. Come on. So the last question for this session would read as follows. Briefly discuss the future. Shout out to any bands or people, if applicable. So not really a question, but just a statement.
I hope the Indonesian community, especially deathcore scenes, is more actively, more bands coming out because of this album, and more publicly. How do I share this? I hope this album will become the new benchmark in the metal scene in Indonesia and the outside world, because and the scene is in deathcore scene in Indonesia is not that big compared to the death metal or hardcore scene in Indonesia. So
Right.
we hope this will be the
beginning of something bigger.
Yeah. We
That's
hope
fair.
it will be the trigger to some people to liking the genre in Indonesia, and maybe to open the window that there is a band like this in Indonesia in other side of the world and something like
Yes.
that.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to hope for, is that not only does this become a benchmark for any and all future Indonesian metal, slam, gore grind, symphonic deathcore, whatever, any heavy counterculture genres that musicians, artistic minds, creative minds decide to explore, whether they be from Jakarta or even your side of town, which I do apologize. It's kind of the reason I haven't mentioned it. What's the name of your town again? What's the name of your city?
It is Surakarta, or you can call it
Surakarta.
Solo.
Surakarta.
Yeah.
Surakarta. Okay. So I mean, pretty close to Jakarta, but it's not the same. So that'd be like comparing Brooklyn to Manhattan in New York. So
Yeah. It's the same like that.
So with that in mind, Finn, before we wrap up session, do you have anything else you wanted to say to the boys?
I'm gonna apologize. I'm at work right now, so I've been like trying to stay
No, you're good.
on the grind.
You're good.
No worries. Just wanted to double check and see if
It's fine.
you want to provide any departure commentary. But if you're busy, you're busy.
I'm at a loss for words right now. I'm drawing a kitty cat.
Fair enough.
It is fine, man. Thank you for caring for the nature, man.
Absolutely. Nature is my favorite thing.
Nature is my favorite thing too, and so is the supernature, the supernatural. I think that's what they call it these days, supernatural or the paranormal. But nonetheless, it is a part of nature, and we just happen to not understand it that well just yet. But I think that will wrap up this session for the Anatomy Podcast. I appreciate everybody ahead of time near the tail end of June who happens to listen to this session. This was at least a year in the making. Just like, hey, what are you doing? When can we get you guys on the show? Come on, let's get you guys on the show. Let's get this podcast rolling. They're like, hey, calm down. You don't have the album out yet. Calm down. I'm like, but we need to. I need to do this. So we're finally here. We finally conquered this milestone. And who knows? Maybe we can get even more commentary and content by talking to the remaining 3 members of the band before this session is ready to upload. Maybe we can turn the Anatomy Podcast X Eden Adversary Part 1 into a full, technically a full length or full band lineup podcast session. Who knows? Here's to manifesting that. But otherwise, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for checking into this 4-hour podcast session. And just like the Great Eternal Music Machine, people, let's keep cranking, and we'll see you guys next time on the Anatomy Podcast.
Yeah.